Hello everyone. Firstly, I want to explain my project and introduce it to you. I want to talk about my motivation and why I choose this topic. Also, I want to explain the technologies that I used, like hardware components and software works, and I want to show my design. And finally, I will show my implementation with a video. So in the introduction part, I want to give a brief explanation that in a daily life we are all using traffic lights, and sometimes when we are crossing the street or while driving a car, this project of smart traffic light can provide a safer and advanced system for us, and it can be used wherever there are regulations of regarding traffic. And thanks to the IoT feature in this system, authorized public institutions such as police departments or who is in the charge of that area can stop or direct the entire traffic flow remotely with the IoT functionality. On some special days, some urgent events, it may be necessary to direct the pedestrian flow or vehicle flow to alternate routes or to distribute the density or the crowd that may occur. With the possibilities provided by IoT, it's possible to do this process more efficiently from a single center because we are using and I am using the internet, and people do not have to be in the physically near the traffic lights. And thanks to the motion based operation feature, which is one of the features of the system, pedestrians can confront safely within 8 seconds without touching any button. And one of the benefits of being action based is that is benefits in the public health by reducing the contact. Because we all know that these days we are in the coronavirus pandemic and epidemic, and other than the coronavirus, most of the diseases are spreading by physical touch or interaction between the other people or humans. But if it's with the motion sensor, people do not have to press the button, or I am reducing the physical touch as soon as possible. So why I choose this project and what's my main motivation? First of all, I'm not using only motion feature. I'm using other SSH connections or others LEDs or other components, and it's a safer version that I already explained in the coronavirus part. I am creating a much healthier product than the normal or current one, and it's very easy to apply the old one and the new traffic lights. Also, people can apply or add new features very easily because the main part is not that complex to change. And people are using this in everyday life, most of us using the traffic lights in everyday by crossing the street or using car. And people can still control all the things from distant and single destination. It's a plus side, and I'm using Wi-Fi with internet, and it's all related with our class this year. So for my hardware, I'm using Raspberry Pi B Plus, which I borrowed from our lab, and I'm using LEDs and jumper wires. I'm using jumper wires connections, and I'm using PR sensor, which is my motion sensor, and I'm using breadboard to putting the LEDs, resistors, and motion sensor and connecting it to Raspberry Pi. In the software side, I'm using Python for programming, and I use Raspberry Pi IDE for booting my Raspberry Pi. I'm using Blink application. The Blink application is based on IoT projects. It gives us to create a space and environment for that project, and there is a lot of templates and it's very helpful application for me. And I'm using SSH connection to creating connection between Blink and my Raspberry Pi. This is the GPIO map of the Raspberry Pi. I think it's most of the same for the specific version of Raspberry Pi. I colored the some boxes which I am using for my Raspberry Pi. As you see, the number 17 GPIO, I'm using it for green LED, and number 27 is for red LED, and number 22 is for yellow LED. And I'm also using the GPIO 10 for my motion sensor, and the other parts are empty, but it can be used in other features. For my implementation, program is booted in the terminal of Raspberry Pi in the beginning. When the motion is detected by the motion sensor, program firstly turns on the LED for safety, and count from 5, and also in the same time it prints screen to like 5 4 3 2 0, and people can like use it to print these numbers to the like in the traffic lights, and the pedestrian can see that before they crossing the street. Secondly, program turns off the red light and turns on the yellow LED, and then turns off the yellow and turns on the green for 5 seconds, and again same process, like it counts down from 5 to 0, and it prints the outputs. And if the motion detected after whole process, it returns to beginning, and again like turning on the red, and then same thing happens. This is the Blink IoT part, and this is a screenshot of my Blink application. In the further video I will show that my Raspberry Pi and my motion sensor, but I have only one camera, which is my phone, and I was able to only record my screen. Not I was able to record my phone screen too, but in the same time I had to record my lights, but I couldn't do this from one phone. That's why I didn't include that, but I am using Blink application, and I explained it in my report. So this is the video of my whole system, how it works. Hello everyone. First of all, I want to show my SSH connection to my Blink application to my Raspberry Pi. I'm doing this with the authorization token which sent by the application to my mail. This is my authorization token, and I wrote it like this to Blink client, and then I'm pressing enter on my keyboard, and it's like starting the connection, and it says Blink application is ready and authorized other things. And this is my main program, and if I just start to run, it will turns on the whole lights like green, yellow, red, and then if it's detects a motion, it will print out the screen like this. So let's run it. Like, see, it's opened all the lights, and it's detected a motion. It counts from the 5 to 0, then yellow light, and it's like 5 seconds for the green light, and it will stop. And when I'm just moving my hand, again it's detected a pedestrian, and it starts and counts from 5 to 0. And this can apply for the lights for the cars. Also, there is no motion sensor needs for that. Like the lights for the car will just do the, for example, if the yellow light turns on for the pedestrian, red light will turns on for the cars. And I don't have that much like LEDs, but it can apply easily to things like this. Every time it waits for motion for the sensor. As you see that this is my how project works. In a conclusion, the important aim of this project is create a safer and smart traffic lights, and this example project can be adapted to real life examples when necessary, and it provides solution wherever traffic lights are used, which is in everywhere, and at the same time allows remote control of both vehicle and pedestrian traffic by changing the software. But I couldn't show that from my Blink application, but I can give a brief example of that how it works. Like if the authorized person just press the red in here, only the red lights will turn on, and it can also turn on all the lights in the same time. But in our realistic case, if they want to block the road, they have to just press the red button. That was all of my project. Thank you for listening me.